So I'd like to bring up Renata Grudic, who is also one of our head teacher, teaching and learning. Wonderful person, very close friend of mine, and she's going to talk about where your head is at.
All right, so where's your head at? I'd like to introduce you potentially to some ways of thinking, both optimistic and pessimistic. And in doing that, I'd like to introduce you to my mate, Wile E. Coyote. As a child growing up, I really liked Wiley. Still can't figure out why he's never caught that stupid roadrunner, because in reality he runs super duper faster. Here's poor Wiley. Come on, what's happening with this one, Benjamin? Oh, okay, he's always getting hit by rocks. He's always going to Acme, but he's always scheming. Now, Wiley is in actual fact an optimistic. We might like to think of that. What he knows is temporary. He stands here, damn, rock hit me. That's going to go away because there's no other rock there. Okay, so he's got a little bit of hope happening for the next time. He knows it's specific because he knew if he stepped 10 centimetres away, that rock would not hit him. And he doesn't get really annoyed because Acme always sends him a dud fuse that never lights on time, or a cannon that fires too far. So in the big scheme of things, because he sees things as temporary, he has some specific reasoning for it, and because he can see that it's somebody else, that's what gives my mate Wiley a bit of optimism and creates him as an optimistic thinker. Many of you may have heard of Martin Seligman, and in Learn Optimism in the Optimistic Child, he gives us a definition of what it is. And it's basically a premise. And one of the things that recently, in the last 15 years in positive psych, they've learned that we can actually change the way we think. We never thought of that before. It wasn't anything that psychologists consider. But the way we think is, in actual fact, a habit. And Seligman calls it explanatory optimism. With that, they identify both optimistic and pessimistic thinkers. These are the kids that we have in our classroom. These are our staff. These are our colleagues. And you know the ones, the one who goes, oh my God, I hate work. Every single day is horrible. And that person is using the words never, always. They're developing and they demonstrate pessimistic thinking. Then you've got your colleagues who come in and go, oh God, today's a really bad day. Got 4 periods straight. Bloody reports are due to the head teacher at 6:30 and I haven't even started, but I'm going to get through it. So they can see that there's a shift. They tend to demonstrate more optimistic thinking. Without, oh, this is driving me nuts. The one thing with the core of pessimistic thinking is this sense of helplessness. And by teaching our students specific skills, we can remove that sense of helplessness. Because one of the things that pessimists believe is that it's global. It won't change. This is my life and I can't do anything about it. I am to blame. So getting to that core helps us shift them to becoming more optimistic thinkers, and using some of the skills I'm about to share with you where they feel they are in control. They do have control. Just some key characteristics. You may be familiar with this. If you're a pessimistic thinker, when a bad thing happens, it's permanent. It ain't going to change. When a good thing happens, you go, ah, shit, it's only for today. Only for the weekend.
Today, that minute.
Yeah. Always global, everything, always. They're the words that they tend to use for bad things. If something happens, oh yeah, but that's only because Liz popped in and said hello to me. Okay, that's really specific, that's going to go. It's because of me. I'm doing something wrong. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm the one that's creating this. And if it's really good, oh well, that's because, you know, all these other wonderful people around me. So that's generally how pessimistic thinkers tend to put things into parcels for themselves. On the other hand, our optimists, the ones who think optimistically, oh Jesus, bad things happen, they know it's going to go away. Oh, I hate this beeper thing's running out. It's not, when good things happen, it's permanent. Always will happen and will continue. It's specific when it's bad, you know, it happened because it was a rainy day, that's why I crashed the car, I was running late. I can learn from that. Global, the world is a good place, I know how to deal with it, and the difference there in terms of the way they're thinking, I don't know. It's there. Can we teach children? Yeah, we can. I'm just going to keep moving this slide. We can do it, and we know that kids are optimistic thinkers up until adolescence. We hit adolescence and something happens. They start to reflect. They develop moral development. Erickson tells us that. They reflect on their lives and their experiences, and as a result, they can flip. Scaling, if you're interested, on the resilience donut, Martin Seligman talks about it as a powerful tool to shift our students' thinking from pessimism into optimism. Thank you.
I'd like to introduce Mark Liddel, also from the Northern Beaches Christian School. Now, you're in the maths faculty, aren't you? And it's can routines actually assist learning?
Having us come along here today for Teachmeet. I am similar to someone that I've been involved with Teachmeets for a number of years now. I just love them. They are just the best. So thanks so much for hosting today. Today I wanted to be able to talk about how some of the different routines that I've been learning about have impacted student learning and how they've impacted my ability to be able to, again, come back to helping students to be able to learn really effectively. So can you just tell me, when you hear the word routine, when you hear that the operation was a routine operation, what are some things that come to mind if something is described as being routine?
No surprise.
No surprises?
Normal.
Yeah, normal. Maybe it's just same old, it's a bit boring. And so I guess historically, I didn't have a lot of respect for routine. And I guess what I have come to find is that there are all these different routines that have really helped for me to be able to operate more creatively, to be able to have a better impact in terms of the teachers that I work with and then the students as well. So I've just got a number of links that I've noted down on my blog in case you'd like to reference those, and they are right there. Okay, so first up, we were able to learn about some different thinking routines from a group at Harvard University. It's called Project Zero. And so there's a number of these, and we've used them specifically in Year 9 maths, that have helped for students to use this routine to help them delve into their learning a little bit more deeply. So some of the ones that you can see at the link there, there's this Think, Puzzle, Explore routine, and that was really helpful at the beginning of this topic on measurement to be able to have the students pose some questions, to be able to consider what do I already know, and that was really, really helpful. And there's a number of other routines that might be really helpful in your classes. There's quite a range at that particular site. The next thing were some of the routines that I've been using for my own professional learning in order to be able to really make some progress with how I work as a leader, how I work in the classroom, and how I team with other teachers. And so, in the last little while, as part of my routine, I've been meeting up with a mentor each week. Every Thursday morning we sit down and we have a coffee, and he's on his journey, I'm on mine, we ask questions, and that has really helped each week to be able to help me to be more effective in the way that I operate. Next up, there's a guy at school who's been coaching me. So the difference is with this coach is that he actually asks hard questions. He can be a little bit more forceful. He kind of knows what my capacity is. And again, that's been a great routine that has had a big impact on me. And then as well, Teachmeets. I try to at least every term get along and have a great time, and they've been one of the best investments that I've made. And finally, Jono, who I work with, has been running a reading group at our school every Thursday afternoon, and that again has been this great routine which has exposed me to all these different ideas. We're currently reading this John Hattie book about the science of learning, and just getting together with people who want to be there has just been a fantastic way of being able to help me understand more about the science of learning and how students actually develop expertise. One of the other routines that's been helpful is some of these mistakes we've been making in terms of teamwork. So at our school we've been aiming to, in the classes that I'm involved with, Year 9, 11 and 12, all have it so that they're team teaching environments. And so it's been great because we've made all these mistakes, and then there's this primary teacher at our school who's got this experience, and she's able to actually help me work through those different aspects of teaming routine to make it better and better. So I'm not sure if there are any primary teachers here today. Yeah, you'd be surprised how much gold that comes from a high school teacher actually sitting down and saying to one of these primary guys, how do you guys roll? Why is it that you do that? There is so much to learn from our primary teachers. One of the problem-solving routines that's made a really big impact in my particular classroom this year has been saying to kids, listen, we've got all this math content we've got to get through. However, it's really important that you're developing problem-solving skills at the same time. And so this learning routine that we've been using in class that I've just noted on the blog has made a really big difference to the way that I can provide feedback to the students. I don't just give them feedback on your answer to the trick question, I also give them feedback on how they've actually applied themselves with that particular routine. And then finally, I've found helpful routines this term to achieve a good life-work balance. So last term, I wasn't getting involved with going to the gym or doing any songwriting. And I found that with the help of this particular routine by this kind of, New York best-selling guy, it's helped for me to be able to develop in my normal week how to make those good decisions, how to have those good routines, so that I'm there getting some exercise, and as well, I'm in a much better place to be able to lead other teachers at the school and have a lot of fun with my students. Thanks so much.
Next we have Steph Coble Runge. She's actually head teacher of science, but the first head teacher at our school to actually lead our whole grade project-based learning, which actually at the moment is happening in this space here, which we affectionately call the hub. So she's going to talk about what we're actually doing here at Cromer. It's quite a difference from the teaching and learning we've done the last couple of years, but it's very, very exciting.
Woohoo! Hi. Hey, hey. Oh, thanks. You're so nice. So I'm talking about PBL with an integrated curriculum. So PBL, I can't use these things. Project-based learning. But with an integrated curriculum. So project-based learning, quick snapshot, driving question, which is non-Googleable. So students can't just find the answer really quickly. They can access it from lots of different points and come at it from different angles and with their own experience. It requires inquiry from the students. I need a minute and a half to forget. Yep. It has some voice and choice. There's things that they need to know and they figure those things out for themselves. They revise and reflect, and they must present to an audience, and the audience must be relevant. They need to be real-world challenges for the students to get engaged in that process. In terms of why we do PBL, because we want to excite the students and we want them to be challenged by the work that they're getting. So an extensive and flexible knowledge skills. They need to be able to collaborate, have problem-solving skills, and try and get that intrinsic motivation to learn. We've got it, we're here tonight. We want our students to have it. So in terms of what an integrated curriculum, when I think about that, I'm a science teacher, so sometimes I can integrate curriculum in terms of chemistry, physics, bio, they can do that in the one unit. Or I might choose to go with STEM and work with science and maths. But making those connections can happen anywhere in the school, and it doesn't have to be limited to what we think is the traditional ways to do that. So that you better understand the project, I thought I'd show you a video of one of the projects that we ran. Now this project was called What Floats Your Boat, and I'm just going to talk through it as the video runs. I hope the sound is on.
Yeah, I think it is.
Is it definitely on? No, it's not. Let me just put the sound on. And let me just start again, sorry. Okay, so what floats your boat? We had 4 faculty areas involved, so the teachers got together and collaborated to plan the unit. Every good project starts with a hook event, so the students were challenged to do science practicals, to get those questions starting to happen about why things float. Thinking about buoyancy, thinking about centre of gravity, displacement, and those sorts of things. Then the kids have to start their research. They did scale models, and then the mathematics came in. So they had to actually do their own research and create their own designs, which were all different. Then we had to build the big ones. So their challenge was to build a cardboard boat that could hold 4 people, float for at least a minute and travel at least 30 metres. That was their challenge. That's the question they had to answer. We had a boat engineer that came into the school and worked with the students, so we brought in our expert, and the students had to work collaboratively to come up with that boat. Their designs were all very different. We worked with the boat engineer. He said you might need duct tape on the bottom of all of them, so we modified what we required from the kids to be able to do that. And the students worked in this space. If you walked in, looked like chaos. The kids got involved. It was fun. They had a great time, and they really had to problem solve because they weren't working in groups necessarily with their friends. So the challenge came with when it was launch day. We had people in the school who did not believe that these boats were going to float. There you go, this was one of them, our principal was one of them. So on the day, the kids had to carry their boats down to South Creek, 20 minutes away. None of them complained about getting down there. Let me just turn the volume down a bit. There you go. So, the kids got in the water. There was a bit of help there to get some kids in the water because they thought, oh, big sides, yeah, but we'll displace lots of water, but we can't get in. Some did fail, but that's okay. They were having a ball, and if I spoke to those students afterwards, they could tell me what I could have done better next time. So they learned something from the process. We had loads of boats floating though. We had an achievement level. The maximum was platinum. We had platinum boats that day because 4 people were in them. They floated for longer than a minute and they could go further than 30 metres. Some were cutting laps. So it was a fantastic day. This was the last day of term. The students came, participated and thoroughly enjoyed the very last day of term. And we showed the staff and we actually thanked the skeptics because it was motivation for our Year 8 students to go, you know what, we've learnt about the science and maths involved in this, we know how to design things and we can actually achieve this. So, there you go.
Okay, so I'm the head of drama at Roseville College, and I just wanted to talk to you for 5 minutes today about something that we've just started to do between the art and the drama departments in terms of exploring postmodern performance art. And we've been sitting down today actually planning for that, so I'll talk to you about that a bit later. But a little bit of context, Roseville is a single-sex college, and we have very strong drama students, very strong art students, and they love to really push themselves. Roseville is a bring your own device school, and we've been trying to work out ways that we can get technology into those particular faculties. We have been very blessed in that one of our ex-students from many years ago is a professor of engineering who works across faculties in the university involved in architecture and the impact of technology on the performing body. So we invited her in to work with both departments to give us a sense of what was possible with the girls in terms of what we could achieve. We sat down today and we started to nut out what it was that we wanted to achieve across this project that we're going to implement in Term 4. We felt very strongly that performance art was something that we should start to explore at Roseville because, of course, it draws very much from the world of postmodern theory. And I think students at Roseville would benefit very much from learning to read the semiotics and create layered, multi-layered, The students would benefit from learning to read semiotics, but also be able to put into practice creating symbolic, metaphoric performances that involve the use of a great deal of technology. So we were talking today about things where we can project images and have the performing body performing with these projected images and how that might work and what that might mean for the audience. We wanted to do an installation project in particular because we felt that I feel that performance is heading in that sort of fractured way. I'm obviously still grappling with what we're trying to achieve, and we were talking about how we were going to do that, and we've been very fortunate in the last year. The school has purchased a new property, and we were actually thinking about where we might put this performance on. We have a performance space and we have a theatre, but we actually decided that it might be interesting to put the female performing body into a house and try and explore the impact of technology, not just digital technology, but technology broadly, on the female body. So we came up with ideas about projecting little images of women in cupboards and what that might mean if you open the cupboards and find tiny little women there. Soundscapes of women chopping. Projections of women in grayscale, we were talking about today, projected into the kitchen, which of course is in colour, and in a 1950s dress, and playing around with what women have experienced over time, but also what that says about women today. So today we sat down and we started to plan, and of course that was a really interesting process for the two departments. I haven't actually done any of this sort of integrated work before, so trying to come to terms with what the art department wants to achieve and what the drama department wanted to achieve was a really interesting process. Negotiating, the art department of course is very keen, and as we are, to develop a sense of the skills involved in is it multimedia pro? Yeah. And they're quite keen to get the kids really confident with using that. And of course, for us, it was that big picture question about, all right, what are we saying about women? What are we saying about women and technology? What are we saying about the female performing body? So it was interesting trying to come to terms with all of those questions. So that's where we're at. It's the beginning of a process. We're going to start teaching that in term 4. And I'll look forward to hearing if you've got any ideas about that. Thank you.
Person is Henrietta Miller. A lot of you would already know her as the brekkie with the techie with the brekkie, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. For many years. So I remember going to a few of those sessions when I was the first couple of years of teaching. It was pretty amazing. She is one of the founders of Teachmeet in Australia. So I think you had the first primary Teachmeet in your classroom. So when you're looking at people who love Teachmeet...
I did have the first Teachmeet in my classroom. So this is it. Okay. So I'm sorry, I made a mistake making a prezi in a real rush in about half an hour this morning without thinking through whether it could be downloaded and uploaded. And it's on my iPad, but of course I can't show that here. So can I put this in somewhere, Simon?
So what are you looking for?
Well, I'm just...
Yep.
If I can put that in, then it...
Maybe just one USB.
I know
Has
that.
somebody got one in that's not?
Yeah, mine's sitting in the one, unless it will open.
I think that
Otherwise,
it's
it's
like
mine.
that you can hear it.
Is this
Oh,
one
yeah,
work?
there it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, it work. Maybe not. Oh, maybe I'll have to, can I can press this, is that
Yeah,
right?
or there's a mouse,
Okay,
or
that's
there's
fine.
a pointer.
So I'm here to talk to you. I'm a Year 6 teacher. I'm also the PYP coordinator at Roseville College. I teach Year 6 on a half-load basis, and I'm doing executive curriculum stuff on another half. I'm here to talk to you about banishing boring homework and using blogging instead. And I'm going to talk about what's going on in Year 6, if I can get this to work. Right, let's go down here.
Can use the mouse if you want.
Yeah. Okay, so we all know we have a new South Wales English curriculum, and it's new, and there are outcomes and indicators and all these things that we need to meet. And I have here just copied a couple of these outcome statements from here. You know, creating well-structured, well-presented, multimodal, that means a mixture of visuals and images, text, and for a wide range of purposes, and audiences. Keyword there to me is audiences. Who is reading your children's writing is what I'm asking you. And that by the end of Stage 3, they can communicating again, entertaining, informing, persuading audiences for a range of purposes. Oh man, sorry. I'll go over my 5 minutes now, never mind. So, and finally we have objective, I think this is D or E, the end objectives that students are able to reflect on their own writing and on others. So that needs to be built into the English programme now, and that's new for a lot of teachers. In my classroom, we've been doing this for a while now because we have a blog. and we've run it for about 4 years. It's called Year 6 RC. You could Google it if you want to, and we share our learning through our blog with the wider community and the world. This is what it looks like. We have a homepage, we have a flag counter. This is open to the world. Anyone can see what's going on in our classroom. And we have student bloggers. So each week, a pair of my students are bloggers, and they report on the learning that's been going on in the classroom. As they do that, we feel that we're teaching them authentic cyber safety skills. They're learning digital literacy and all sorts of things. You might be interested to see we've had 105 countries visit us, 7,500 visitors. What better audience is that for your writing than something like that? And that is meaningful to years, primary students. That is a real meaningful audience. So now we move from term 1, we've had student bloggers on the class blog. It's all controlled within the class blog. The teachers are moderating. We move to having student bloggers. In term 2, they've all started their own blogs, and we have used them this term to report on and comment on passion projects. And we've run a passion project for our homework. So each student took a passion. They started their own blogs. We use a platform called EduBlogs, so the student blogs hang off the corner of the EduBlogs. It doesn't cost us anything to have the student blogs. I have 54 student blogs down there because it's 2 Year 6 classes. And they took a passion and they've developed it over the 8 weeks of this term. So what they had to do each week was write a post, and then they also had to visit 4 of their classmates on a rotational basis, read what their classmates had written, and write them authentic, real comments. And I've just shared a few screenshots. You can go and visit these blogs if you want to and leave comments. I'd love somebody to do that. This is a child who doesn't quite fit at Roseville College, Year 6, all-girls school, because what she likes is motorbikes and quad bikes. That's what she's passionate about. This child is really disengaged in school, but my God, if you saw what she's writing on here, it is just so beautiful. It makes my heart bleed that she's not out at some country school kicking footballs around with the boys in the dirt, because that's what she should be doing. But here she's got an outlook. We had our Passion Project presentations on Tuesday, and we set up little stalls, and she brought her helmet and her thing, and people listened to her talk, and it was really good. This is another one. I've finished. I've written 4,789 words.
1 minute.
This child wrote a novella. This one is learned about photography. She's really not very literate, but the writing she's done on here has just been brilliant. This child is really quiet, and she made a dress, and it was beautiful, and the writing she's done on her blog about her dressmaking has just been fascinating. But where to now? That's this term. The road is winding. Blogging is still going on. So next term, we've decided they're going to write a choose your own adventure story, and you have to visit 4 other people's blogs, and they're going to vote on where the adventure story should go next. I've recruited parents, and I'm going to have parents being commentators, and I'm assigning 6 kids to each parent, and the parents are going to read the blogs and comment too. And so over the course of next 10 weeks, they'll be writing these adventure stories, and I'm not sure what to do in term 4. I've got an idea for a math project where they might be designing a room or measuring or doing something on that. But the future, blogging, you know, this is a student from last year, 8,500 visitors in a 12-month period. That's what student blogging can do to you, give you an authentic audience to your kids.
Time.
Yay. Well,
where the hits are coming from. All right, we've come to the second session of the Q&A for the 5 squared session. So it's time to throw back to you guys, where you can ask questions of these 5 fabulous presenters. So who's going to be first? Or comments?
We covered it all. Done.
Do any of the presenters want to sort of just add a few bits? Because I know sometimes that 5 minutes it just goes whammo, and then it's like, see ya. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
We just finished a project, Heroes and Villains, halfway through this term, and Year 8 students, and they could choose to write at a platinum level, and that required 4,500 words. And the staff came back, and we only went up to gold in terms of our marking, and they said, I'm sorry, we're going to have to create a new category because the length and the quality of the student writing. They got to choose whatever story they wanted. It just had to go around the concept of heroes and villains, and they'd been doing project work to understand that concept even better. But the English staff were so impressed with the number of students that wrote long stories, but fantastic stories, and they'd never seen that quality from Year 8 students before as a collective. So that was a really positive experience. So it's not just science and maths and stuff, but it can be any academic story.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is kind of Steph. Did you have a routine, I'm trying to do with Martha as well, for meeting with all those departments to write your integrated project? Like, were there times of a timetable before you
Not
went to
timetabling, no. We decided we were forming a Year 8 team which has 16 teachers across the school as part of the Year 8 project-based learning team. So we had some staff development days last year that we worked in meetings, and we started the creation of those units there, but we decided as a team we needed half-an-hour meetings once a week, so part of it occurs in there, but a lot of it occurs online, so we're chatting online with each other to sort them out as well.
If no one has any questions, can you just visit Year 6 RC and click on any student and leave a comment they comment?
Have we got any more questions?
With the project-based learning, that's in years 7 and 8, how does that continue on the years 11 and 12, or is it difficult with this?
Year 11 and 12, it probably won't happen as much. The realm of possibility really for high school is 7 to 10, but we believe, and the research indicates, that students that are doing project-based learning in some form are actually going to cope better with senior school because they're more self-directed learners. So that's our hope, that whatever form it takes at our school, that if they continue with project-based learning in some form, by the time they hit senior schooling, they're going to be much better able to cope with the requirements of senior schooling.
In fact, some of the HSC subjects and they have project components.
Well,
Yeah.
I was going to say, if I could add to that, I mean, if you're looking at drama, English extension, society and culture, the majority of them actually require the students to create their own driving questions. So this group of kids are certainly going to be well prepared for those subjects in particular.
And just in terms of commenting on that as well, there are some really clear routines available online to help you have it so that students are participating in learning that matters. So there's just one that I'm going to tweet out now, which has got how you would go about looking at a routine to be able to design a project. And I guess there was a lot of magic in seeing those boats out there, but a lot of it is actually happening the day in, day out, where kids want to come to school because they want to work on this project because it matters for now. It doesn't matter for 5 years' time or 10 years' time. It matters right now, and it gives them a reason to come to celebrate the final day of school as well. So suddenly all of this routine work, which is, hard yakka, does lead to this amazing creativity, this amazing passion and engagement.
Our truancy has decreased because people want to enter that.
If I'm allowed to just add in with the optimistic and pessimistic thinking, and I think if I can tie it in with the project-based learning as well, the fact that the students are encouraged to make errors, I mean, that's part of the whole deal, is to explore. So what you're doing is, if you've got a child who genuinely thinks that they're pessimistic and things are out of their control, and when we're talking about things as specific, they can actually learn that, okay, that didn't work because of this, so therefore I can do this, and they can learn from other people. So that is as a pedagogical practice as well, does tend to encourage more optimistic thinking amongst the students as they're working, especially when they're working in teams of 2s to 4s.
All right, I look across the crowd and I see people going, I'm hungry.